that we've run the test, we can see the results on the computer screen. And you can see that I have my data curve here. Notice I can follow the curve at any point and get the load. It lists it there. You may have a hard time reading that, but it says 10.53 pounds at 0.276 inches. And it broke here. And notice also on the side that the peak load was 11.547 pounds. So that's all recorded. And when we run additional tests, it will build these additional curves. I'll be able to list them here. I'll run one more for you so you can see it, all the statistics, and all that data will be saved to an Excel file that you will have access to write your lab report. So you can see a lot of data and the computer's doing all the work. Let's run one more experiment with the short piece of paper this time. Now, normally I would not do this because I don't want to mix my data with the grain and against the grain, but I want to show you here. What I would do is run all of the experiments with the grain, get all 10 curves here, and then I would stop this test, save it, build a new test, and then run these, because you're going to see this looks very different. Here we pulled with the grain. Let's pull against the grain. Notice my machine's returned to 0. I have nothing to do here. It's all set up. Again, put my sheet of paper in. You can loosen these as much as they need to be loosened. And again, gentleness is always the right answer here. We do not need to impress everyone in the room with our physical prowess. And finger tight. These grips, by the way, are wonderful because they really do make this very, very easy to do. Like that. Slight tighten, hold and tighten. Like that. All set up. Do you need to re-zero this? Because you can see it's not quite at 0. Sure, you can just zero the signal out again. No harm in that if you so desire. Although it doesn't really matter with this load. Because you'll see it bounces. That's how sensitive it is. Run the test. Same data as before, the only difference is the width is 1 inch. So I'll change that to 1. And there we go. Even before it happened, look how quick that test was. It only made it to 0.132 inches. We made almost 1/4 of an inch last time. So right away we see that the paper against the grain is a lot stiffer. I'll return the head to 0. And I can see that second test, 25 pounds as opposed to 14. Let's look at the first test again, the second, and let's compare them. Look at the difference. This is against the grain, and what we see is a high spike with the grain, a long lower. We would say that the green curve is more ductile because it pulls farther than the red curve, which is more brittle. And the important point here is that we can see that the properties with the grain and against the grain are vastly different. And all you have to do is look at these two curves to see that. And there it all is on one screen for you. So now you're ready to go ahead and do the test yourself. Here is the data again from the computer program, the test suite software. And you'll notice over here on the left, I have the 2 test runs and I can just toggle between them. And if I hit compare, then I see them together. And you can see the differences. Now, obviously our standard deviation here doesn't mean anything because these are 2 totally different tests. But the goal of this exercise was to show the difference between the more ductile longitudinal pull and the more brittle against the grain pull. When you have all your data, you can simply hit this blue button that looks like the Roman numeral 3. That will generate an Excel report that will have the images of the tests and will allow you to then go and load those into your lab report, because you're going to want that. You're going to want probably two curves, one curve showing all the longitudinal poles and one curve showing all 10 of the well, I'm going to go overwrite the file because I've done this a couple of times already, and one showing all the against the grain poles. And you can see it's loading up my Excel now, and there's that run. I can also pick individual runs. You know, if you don't want to do all of them, but only want you want to look at a bunch of them, then oops, I keep clicking there. There we go. And I can go print a report that or print a report for the selected test run, or generate a report for the selected test run. So I can do individual runs as well and make separate Excel sheets. And your instructor should do this for you. But you want to use these graphs in your lab report. That's important. So make sure that you do that to have everything included. You can also do a printed out report if you have a printer. We don't have one on that particular station in the lab, but we just send it to an Excel file that then will be available for you to work on.